Here are different ways you can apply for permanent residency in Brazil. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Mills and I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to be telling you different ways of getting permanent residency in Brazil. When we talk about permanent residency, it means that you're going to be living in Brazil indefinitely, performing the same activities as every other citizen in the country. So there are many ways you can get permanent residency in Brazil, and today's video is going to show you all the different ways you can get permanent residency in Brazil. Let's begin. Number one, you can get permanent residency through marriage. Anybody who gets married to a Brazilian or to someone who has a permanent residency is also eligible to apply for permanent residency. All you'll be needing is just to prove that you're married through a marriage certificate. Two, you can get permanent residency through children. So any parent whose child is a Brazilian can apply for permanent residency on this basis. The only thing that has to happen is that the child must be financially dependent on you and should be under your care. Still talking about a Brazilian child, it must not be your biological child. If you adopt a Brazilian child, you're also eligible to apply for permanent residency. Number three, family reunion. It's possible to get permanent residency on the grounds of joining an immediate family member. The immediate family member should either be a Brazilian or a permanent resident. When I'm talking about immediate family, it could be spouse, it could be sibling, it could be your parents, it could be grandparents. And there's something I want to talk about, the family reunion visa. I've done a video already about family reunion visa, and I've been having many questions from people about family reunion, like inviting their immediate family to Brazil through family reunion. I've heard from people who want to invite their siblings. I've heard from people who want to invite their children. I want to shed more light on that because when we talk about family reunion visa, it's like a dependent visa. It means that the person who you're inviting is dependent on you. There is a condition to the family reunion visa. If you have a permanent residency in Brazil through family reunion, you cannot invite any other family member. That's what I stated in the video, and that's what it is. And the people who ask me these questions fall under this conditional act. So it's impossible. If you have a Brazilian child, the permanent residency that you're going to get on this basis is called family reunion. That is the permanent residency that you got because you're reuniting with your child who is dependent on you. That's why it's impossible. So if you give birth to your child in Brazil, it's impossible for you to invite a family member through family reunion. It could be through tourists, but through family reunion, no. In the case where the Brazilian child has a sibling that is not in Brazil, but you as the parent want to invite the sibling of the Brazilian child, it's also going to be complicated because you are also on permanent residency based on family reunion. The Brazilian baby can invite the sibling to come to Brazil through family reunion, but your Brazilian baby is a minor and the sibling is also a minor, so it's going to be complicated because when we are talking about family reunion, one person has to be dependent on the other person, but both of them are minors. Nobody is going to be dependent on the other person, except that you wait until when you become a Brazilian citizen. Of course, the sibling to the Brazilian is also going to become a Brazilian as well. You can return to your country or the country where the other sibling is, and you apply for a normal regular tourist visa. And when they come here through the tourist visa, then they can apply for permanent residency based on their sibling, and because they're dependent on you. The next type of permanent residency is through retirement. Retirees with a passive income can make Brazil a second home, so you can apply for permanent residency. So it is necessary to have a regular monthly income that is equivalent to 6,000 Brazilian reals. That's the only requirement you'll be needing. You can apply for permanent residency if you're a scientist or a researcher. Persons with extraordinary ability in the field of science, technology, research, or academia can get permanent residency in Brazil. All you'll be needing is just to get an offer in a Brazilian institute or a Brazilian institution. The next way you can get permanent residency is through investment. Brazil offers an investor visa which grants immediate permanent residency. Usually, you should have 500,000 Brazilian reals to invest in real estate, a Brazilian startup, or existing Brazilian company. The amount can be reduced to as little as 150,000 Brazilian reals if the investment creates 10 jobs for Brazilian citizens, or if the investment goes towards technology, innovative products, or scientific research. To be accepted, the applicant must have a clean criminal record and submit a business or investment plan. And if granted, the permanent residency will be renewed every 3 years. And the permanent residency is also dependent on your investment status. This means that investment must be maintained if the applicant wishes to remain in Brazil. Now, once their investment visa has been approved, also the family members are also eligible to join in Brazil and also get a permanent residency. Next way you can get permanent residency is being a CEO, a manager, or administrator in a startup company. So in other words, being an entrepreneur. If a company has been trading outside of Brazil for at least 5 years, it can expand its operation and open a startup in Brazil. A maximum of 3 visas is going to be granted to the founders of the startup, like the CEOs, the manager, and the administrators. Permanent residency is typically granted for 2 years, after which it can be renewed subject to certain criteria. Normally, for you to apply for permanent residency, you need to be resident in Brazil for 4 years. So if you're living in Brazil for 4 years on your temporary residency, you're eligible to apply for permanent residency. Another way you can get permanent residency is through the study route. Now, when we talk about the study route, if you study or you're in Brazil for 4 years, continuously, you're eligible to apply for permanent residency. So for example, if you come in here for undergraduate, it takes maybe 3 to 4 years. After the 4 years, you can apply. Or after you're undergraduate, if you go to masters, or if you're doing masters and you decide to extend it to do a PhD and you live here during your studies for 4 years continuously, you can apply for permanent residency. This is the next way that you can get permanent residency also in Brazil. You're doing masters. You stay in Brazil for 2 years for your masters, and after your 2 years, you have a job. The residency is going to continue. If you have a permanent job or temporary job, the residency is still going to count. After 2 years on the job and 2 years of your masters put together, you can apply for permanent residency. As well as if you came into Brazil through work, a work visa, which is temporal. After 4 years on your work visa, you can also apply for permanent residency. Another way you can get permanent residency is through a positive approval on your asylum claim. So if you're in Brazil here and you're an asylum seeker and your claim has been approved, you can apply for permanent residency. So those are the different ways that you can get permanent residency in Brazil. If you have any question, leave it in the comment section. And please, if you find this video interesting, make sure you leave a thumbs up, like, share, and please, if you have subscribed, please do so and you hit on the bell notification so that you get updated every time I upload a new video. In that same light, ciao.